What's up, everybody? A Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Studios, and today we're doing another one of these poll-type videos where we're going to talk about what may be replacing Subnautica temporarily, because Subnautica, I feel like it needs some stuff to be done before I want to keep going. I'm having too much of a hard time always trying to come up with new things to do in each episode, and so I want to kind of give it a break for a little bit. Not because I don't like the game or anything. I love it. It's a great game, but I think I've just been I've been doing it a lot as far as I've constantly had it as part of the channel kind of thing. And like I said, I think I've just hit a content wall kind of thing where I've done kind of all the story stuff for the most part. Other than finding like the new Ghost Leviathan thing, but honestly seeing the newest, biggest, baddest thing that's going to try and eat my face really doesn't sound all that appealing. That's more of the, oh crap, I wandered into its territory. And if I went for more of the, like, let's go build a huge underwater base thing, then I run into performance problem that I've talked about before. Where after you build a certain size of a base, then it starts running like crap. At least for me, I have to go off of my system and how it handles, so there may be other people's systems that run better, and that's fine. But for me, I'm kind of in a rock and a hard place with it that if I come up with building ideas, I don't really think I can follow through with them, and if I don't do building, I don't know what else to do. So with that said, we're going to talk for a minute about a couple of different game ideas. Now, feel free to, I'm probably going to do another straw poll. That worked out pretty good the last couple times I've done them. I'm probably going to limit how many I have as an option, and I'll talk about a few reasons why. But I've always left like an other kind of thing, and if you mark other or something, just kind of send a message or a comment or something with what you suggest. But keep in mind with the other comment is if you're the only one suggesting that one game, it's probably not going to happen when I've got a few other people pointing towards a different one or something to that effect. So keep in mind it is kind of a majority rules type of thing. Unless I just decide to just veto it and be like, nope, I'm just doing this one. But I try to kind of cater to you guys as far as there's a lot of games I would like to play, but I don't think I've really developed an audience for them. And so then you're just putting out videos and taking time and stuff to do videos and things when they're not really what anybody wants to see. So, I have to be careful about that. So that's why I do the polls and ask for your feedback and stuff, because if I just did what I wanted to do, I would just, you just see that instead of this video. But, it doesn't always end up playing to the strengths of what everybody wants to see, which then doesn't really do that well, and it's kind of ultimately a waste of time. So, I have a few in mind. I have a couple of different game ideas in mind. It's a lot more limited than the last kind of batch before, where I did like 6 or something different options. Mainly because I'm going off of polls from those previous things. So it's kind of one of those, like, because if you've done 2 polls and nobody voted for this one, stop asking about it type of thing. Hollow Knight. Which is a shame, because it's an amazing... I love that game. Anyways, an example. That's an example of doing what you guys want to do rather than what I want to do, because I wouldn't mind doing a Steel Soul run or something like that and trying to see how that goes or something, but nobody really voted for it before, so I doubt that'll change. I don't remember the specifics of the last straw poll, but I do feel like Dead Cells got some traction, so I may leave that one on the list. I'm not sure. So I think if you see it on the straw poll, then I decided to leave it there. I think it got pretty good response. But the other one that I'm thinking of is Talos Principle. That's another one that I've had in my list of things to play eventually, and I've had a few people mention it before as far as like, oh, I wouldn't be upset with that one. That would be a cool one to see, stuff like that. But again, it comes back to majority. If I only have a few, honestly, Witness didn't really do all that well on my channel, even though it had a pretty strong following, but the views weren't really there, so I wouldn't be surprised if Talos Principle really wasn't up there on the list. But I do want to include it because it's something I would like to play at some point. It's just going to come down to whether I do it on my channel or in my own time. The other one that I personally am really interested in doing again, but I don't know how it will go, is a Feed the Beast series. I'm currently playing Feed the Beast Beyond in my off time, because I don't know what it was. I just really had an itch to play the modded Minecraft type thing and do like the bees and stuff like that. And so I went ahead and started up a server, and I started playing it just in case Adrian Wanna Fly or bass player KG wanted to play it. And I haven't, Adrian's been really busy, and so him and I haven't really talked in a while, so I don't even know if there's any interest from his end. But I have been talking to bass player, and he said that he doesn't think he's really into it at the moment. So for performance reasons, I ended up taking it off of the server and converting the world into a single player, and I've just been playing that in my off time. But if there was any kind of demand for it, I really wouldn't mind doing a video series on it for a little bit at least, because it's something I'm in the mood of right now, which means I'll be more into it and more excited about it. And I haven't done it in a while, nor have I ever done a strictly single player version. I've always done like on a server with them, and we'd run over and, you know, see what they were building or something, or do group stuff together. I've never really done a single... Actually, I've never really played Minecraft on my own before, because they got me into Minecraft. Like, when I first bought the game, when it first came out kind of thing, it was the two of them that got me into Minecraft. So I've pretty much always played a multiplayer with them. So Dead Cells is an option, Talos Principles is an option, Feed the Beast Beyond is an option. I've thought of a couple other ones like Osiris. I may include Osiris, I don't know. And the reason is because they have added stuff and there's more things to do. But frankly, the gameplay itself, particularly early game, to me feels very monotonous and grindy. As you get more stuff, it feels a little bit better, but you've got to get through that barrier, and honestly, it doesn't really excite me right now. And that's something I have to think about, too, as a video creator, is, you know, even if that's what everybody wants to see, if you're really not excited about it, your commentary, your energies put into it, all that kind of stuff isn't really there. And so I may include Osiris on the list. If you don't see it, that's because I may have just decided not to. I'm recording the audio part before I record all the little trailer video clip things and stuff, so whatever's you're seeing is the actual options I ended up landing on, and that'll be the options in the straw poll. There is another a bit left field option, and that's bringing back some sort of podcast type series. I don't really know why. Maybe it was because I took like a week where I wasn't recording because I was dealing with personal stuff, and even though the videos were going up, they were all bulk recorded. But when I came back, I started being really, really chatty during my episodes, like just talking about random stuff, talking about projects in the background of things I'm working on and stuff like that, or different game things and mechanics and blah, 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 blah. And so I don't really know what all I would do consistently with that. I don't know if bass player and Adrian would be guest speakers or anything. I don't really know how that would go. It was just something that rattled around in my head a little bit, was bringing back the podcast type series for a weekly. It would probably be, I mean, you guys know me kind of fairly well at this point as far as if you've been watching my channel. I don't get into a lot of typical podcasty topics. I don't do any hot button issues and stuff. My channel is like a gaming and entertainment channel. I don't care about all of the controversial stuff. I try to avoid it with a passion. I mean, I have my own opinions on things, but I just don't like talking about them because the internet is one of those places that should be a great place to talk about things, but it kind of just ends up being an argument platform where people just yell at each other. And so it would probably be focused more on gaming, projects we're working on, talking about those things that are in the works, like Dog Squad and where we're going with it, what's left to do about it, things like that, and then different gaming news or something, but I'm not getting into anything else outside of the gaming and our project type stuff. So keep that in mind if you do end up like, yeah, that would be cool, we'd like a podcast series or something like that. Keep that in mind, that that's kind of what it would be about. I'm not really planning on doing any other crazy out there topics. Like, I say that because a lot of podcasts are kind of like radio show type style news things, what's going on in the world and stuff like that. And that's not really what I care to talk about, kind of thing. It's not really my thing. So it would probably be mostly gaming focused and the channel focused, kind of like almost an outlet so you guys can hear what's going on. As far as, I do feel like I've been relatively pretty bad about that over the years of running my channel, that there's a lot going on behind the scenes, whether it be personal stuff that affects the channel, whether it be projects that I'm working on that aren't released yet and I haven't had any, exposure to them, whatever. But there is a lot more going on that I don't feel like you guys really get to know about, and so it may cause a disconnect where you're not really sure what's the holdup or why this happened or why this was this way or why this episode did that. And sometimes I feel like I end up infecting my episodes with those talks, and it takes up and chews up time. So a podcast series that's focused kind of on the overall channel and things we're doing and blah, 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 it may give an outlet for that, where if you're not sure what's going on, you can listen to the podcast type of thing. That's something I've thought about as far as that. That's kind of how I see it in my head if I brought that back. Things that I probably won't list on the straw poll is stuff like the Space Engineers programming series and stuff. I wouldn't mind getting back into that, but I don't want to do it the same way I did it before, where there was an episode a week regardless of what was going on, regardless of what progress I've made on a script, regardless of whether I knew what script to work on. I would like to make it a far more refined tutorial series, as in maybe even setting up a way that, you guys could suggest things like, I'd like a script that did this. Can it be done? I'd like a script that can do this. Is that a thing? And then essentially going and working on it, figuring out how to get it to work, and then making a video series on this is how you get it to work, not we'll figure it out together. That's how the original 101 series was more of a let's code kind of thing, if that's a thing. And I don't really like how that worked. I mean, it worked okay for the first few when I was basically explaining how the programming block worked and things, but when it got into making scripts, there was a lot of bulk episodes that didn't need to be there because it was me figuring out problems. I started that way so that you guys, especially if you're new to programming, could see mistakes that are typically made, because I was making them. And then you could also see how to find them and fix them and things. But with that said, if you're coming to the video just to see it, just to go, how do I do this? Then that really wouldn't have been very effective. And so that's why I said if I do like a 102 series or something, I would rather it be more, what do you guys want to see? Okay, let me go work on that. Okay, I figured it out. Here you go. This is how you do it. And that's not really it's not going to lend itself to a 1 episode a week thing that fills the slot of Subnautica. So that's something I've thought about doing, but I haven't found the time to do that, nor have I really figured out a way like where it wouldn't really fill in any time slot. It would just be an extra type of episode. And so I don't really know if I'll go with that. One thing that I hadn't thought of doing, but I am thinking of doing, is possibly something like an Imperial Inspiration series, much like my Space Engineers one, where I basically just grab random stuff that I find on the workshop that looks cool and walk through it and figure it out and, that kind of thing. I say that because while Space Engineers has a lot of interesting mechanics to it and how they've figured out, a lot of builders and Space Engineers have figured out how to kind of finagle to make things work, Imperion has some inherently better overall design in terms of like it has way more interior blocks and stuff and way more customization of how those blocks look. Not to mention it actually has some of its own unique shapes that aren't present in Space Engineers without mods. So, it's kind of one of those where it's like they're two different types of games. I mean, they're the same genre, but they're done in two different angles kind of thing. And I've said that from the beginning. So there's different creations that come out of that as well. So that's something I've recently thought of, like as in a couple of days ago before you're going to see this episode, it was like I saw something on the workshop when I went to start the game to record the Imperion episode and was like, that's kind of an interesting, maybe I should do some kind of inspiration thing like that. So that's an idea I've thought of too. So I guess bottom line, what you're more than likely going to end up seeing on the straw poll is Dead Cells, Talos Principle, a Feed the Beast series, Imperion Inspiration series, or a podcast. I think that's going to be my bottom line of what I'm thinking of like putting out to you guys, that those things I could see myself doing. The only thing with Dead Cells is going into it, everyone would have to understand it's an inherently repetitive game, being a roguelike thing, so there would be a lot of the same stuff. It's a fun game to play. I honestly don't know how fun it would be to watch. And so that's something you guys would have to keep in mind. Honestly, the only reason I put it back on the list is because I think it was on the list before and actually got a decent amount of votes for it, to where I almost did a series on it. I had mentioned doing something like Yonder before. I've been reading some of the reviews on it, and from everything I've read, it's kind of one of those, it sounds like a good foundation, but it's also lacking a little bit in content and stuff like that. So that's where I stand, and like I said, I always include an other if there's something I even mentioned but decided not to leave on the list, but you guys really want to see it, you can go ahead and mark other and then, comment or message me about it. If there's something I didn't mention, you can do the same thing. So feel free to respond however you would like, and just let me know what you would like to see take the place of Subnautica. Like I said, at least temporarily, I will come back to Subnautica at some point, especially if... I doubt it will be this long, but especially once it hits full release. If I haven't gone back to it, I will definitely go back to it when it hits full release, if I haven't before. I probably will, but just saying, I'm not done with that game. It's just, I think I've hit a bit of a stall kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for me for today. Let me know what you guys think about all that. Again, be sure to leave your votes on the straw poll and or in the comments if necessary. And in the meantime, I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you guys later. Peace.